So either you can build the scaffolding and then, get some performance gain and then rebuild it again, or you just wait for the next model and then you kind of get it for free. The CLAUDE.md and kind of the scaffolding is an example of that. And really, I think that's why we stayed in the CLI, is because we felt there is no UI we could build that would still be relevant in 6 months because the model was improving so quickly.
Earlier we were saying like we should compare Cloud MDs, but you said something very profound, which is, yours is actually very short, which is almost like the opposite of what, people might expect. Why is that? What's in your Cloud MD?
Okay, so I checked this before we came. So my CLAUDE.md has two things. One is it's just 2 lines. So the first line is whenever you put up a PR, enable auto merge. So as soon as someone accepts it, it's merged. That's just so I can code and I don't have to kind of go back and forth with CI or whatever. And then the second one is whenever I put up a PR, post it in our internal team stamps channel, just so someone can stamp it and I can get unblocked. And the idea is every other instruction is in our CLAUDE.md that's checked into the code base. And it's something our entire team contributes to multiple times a week. And very often I'll see someone's PR and they make some mistake that's totally preventable, and I'll just literally tag Claude on the PR. I'll just do add Claude, add this to the CLAUDE.md, and I'll do this, many times a week.
Do you have to compact the Claude MD? I definitely reached a point where I got the message at the top saying your Claude MD is thousands of tokens now. What do you do when you guys hit that?
So our Claude MD is actually pretty short. I think it's a couple thousand tokens, maybe something like that. If you hit this, my recommendation would be delete your Claude MD and just start fresh.
Interesting.
I think a lot of people they try to over-engineer this, right? And really the capability changes with every model. And so the thing that you want is do the minimal possible thing in order to get the model on track. And so if you delete your Claude MD and then, the model is getting off track, it does the wrong thing, that's when you kind of add back a little bit at a time. And what you're probably going to find is with every model, you have to add less and less. For me, I consider myself a pretty average engineer, to be honest. I don't use a lot of fancy tools. I don't use Vim. I use, VS Code because it's simpler. I don't
Wait, really? I would have assumed that because you built this in the terminal that you were sort of a diehard terminal, Vim only person, screw those VS code people,
Well, we have people like that on the team. There's, Adam Wolf, for example, he's on the team. He's you will never take Vim from my cold dead hands. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of people like that on the team. And this is one of the things that I learned early on is every engineer likes to hold their dev tools differently. They like to use different tools. There's just no one tool that works for everyone. But I think also this is one of the things that makes it possible for Claude Code to be so good, because I kind of think about it as what is the product that I would use that makes sense to me. And so to use Claude Code, you don't have to understand Vim. You don't have to understand Tmux. You don't have to know how to SSH. You don't have to know all this stuff. You just have to open up the tool and it'll guide you. It'll do all this stuff.
How do you decide how verbose you want, sort of the terminal to be? Sometimes you have to go, Control O and check it out. And is it internal bike shed battles around longer, shorter? I mean, every user probably has a different opinion. How do you make those sorts of decisions?
What's your opinion? Is it too verbose right now?
Oh, I love the verbosity because basically sometimes it just goes off the deep end and I'm watching and then I can just read very quickly and it's oh, no, it's not that. And then I escape and then just stop it. And then it just stops an entire bug farm as it's happening. I mean, that's usually when I didn't do plan mode properly.
This is something that we probably change pretty often. I remember early on, this is maybe 6 months ago, I tried to get rid of bash output just internally, just to summarize it, because I was these giant long bash commands, I don't actually care. And then I gave it to Anthropic employees for a day and everyone just revolted. I want to see my bash, because it actually is quite useful for, for something like Git output, maybe it's not useful. But if you're running, Kubernetes jobs or something like this, you actually do want to see it. We recently hid the file reads and file searches. So you'll notice instead of saying, read foo.md, it'll said, read one file, searched one pattern. And this is something I think we could not have shipped 6 months ago because the model just was not ready. You would have, it still read the wrong thing pretty often. As a user, you still had to be there and kind of catch it and debug it. But nowadays, I just noticed it's on the right track almost every time. And because it's using tools so much, it's actually a lot better just to summarize it. But then we shipped it. We dogfooded it for a month, and then people on GitHub didn't like it. So there was a big issue where people were no, I want to see the details. And that was really great feedback. And so we added a new verbose mode. And so that's just in/config, you can enable verbose mode. And if you want to see all the file outputs, you can continue to do that. And then I posted on that issue and people still didn't like it, which is, again, awesome because my favorite thing in the world is just hearing people's feedback and hearing how they actually want to use it. And so we just like iterated more and more and more to get that really good and to make it the thing that people want.
I'm amazed like how much I enjoy fixing bugs now. And then all you have to do is have really good logging, and then even just say like, hey, check out that, this particular object, it messed up in this way, and it like searches the log, it figures everything out. It can like go into you can make a production tunnel and it'll look at your production DB for you. It's like, this is insane. Bug fixing is just going to Sentry, copy markdown, pretty soon it's just going to be straight MCP. It's like an auto bug fixing, like, and test making sort of, what's the new term they call it? Like making a startup factory.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's like all these concepts now of, rather than having to review the code, I'm old school, so I like the verbosity. I like to say, oh, well, you're doing this, but I want you to do that, right? But there's a totally different school of thought now that says, like, anytime a real human being has to look at code, that's bad.
Yeah.
Which
And
is fascinating.
I think like Dan Chipper talks about this a lot as kind of whenever you see the model make a mistake, try to put it in the CLAUDE.md, try to put it in like skills or something like this so it's reusable. But I think there's this meta point that I actually struggle with a lot. And people talk about like agents can do this, agents can do that. But actually what agents can do, it changes with every single model. And so sometimes there's a new person that joins the team and they actually use Claude Code more than I would have used it. And I'm just constantly surprised by this. Like, for example, we had like a memory leak and we were trying to debug it. And by the way, like Jared Sumner has just been on this crusade killing all the memory leaks and it's just been amazing. But before Jared was on the team, I had to do this. And there was this memory leak, I was trying to debug it. And so I took a heap dump, I opened it in DevTools, I was looking through the profile, then I was looking through the code and I was just trying to figure this out. And then another engineer on the team, Chris, he just like asked Claude Code. He was like, hey, I think there's a memory leak. Can you like run this and then like try to figure it out? And Claude Code like took the heap dump, it wrote a little tool for itself to like analyze the heap dump. And then it found the leak faster than I did. And this is just something I have to constantly relearn because my brain is still